Monsignor, this Jubilee Year of Mercy, this Year of Mercy, it's going by so many different names, and so many people have asked me, well, what exactly does this mean? Why are we so happy? Can you explain to us why this is so important?
Sure. Well, we're happy because God is good all the time.
All the time.
But the Jubilee Year really has its roots in Old Testament tradition, and that has roots the Old Testament Jubilee has roots actually in the whole idea of the Sabbath, which is related to God working for 6 days, and as we say, resting on the seventh day. But that day of rest was given to us not just to veg out.
Okay.
It was God's way of allowing us to enjoy Him, and that's a foreshadowing of heaven itself.
Okay.
So the Old Testament developed the tradition of the Sabbath of Sabbaths. So every 7 times 7 being the perfect number, not just 7 days, but 7 times 7 years, 49 years. The 50th year would be a year of Jubilee, in which debts would be forgiven, lands would be restored, forgiveness would be extended in extensive ways. And the Church picked that tradition up of the Jubilee every 50th year. And it really is an intensification of the whole idea of the Sabbath, of giving God His due and of resting in the Lord and putting our focus on that ultimate goal of heavenly rest. So the tradition, at least since 1300, has been in the Church to have a year of Jubilee.
Okay.
And periodically, the popes have declared a special Jubilee year for one purpose or another. There was one in 1933 to mark the 1900th anniversary of the death of Christ, and in 1983 for the 1950th anniversary of the death of Christ.
And is this year special, and why?
I think this one is special because the Holy Father Pope Francis proclaimed it on the 2nd anniversary of his election to the papacy back in March of this year. And I think he sees himself, and we understand this, we are still in the era of post-Vatican II implementation.
Okay.
You know, we know that, for example, the Council of Trent took generations before it was fully implemented. We kind of grew up with that. We thought the Church was
Yes.
always that way. But it really took almost 100 years to implement Trent. It's taking us 40 or 50 years, or will take more, to really implement the vision of Vatican II as well as the revisions of practices. We're still doing this, and we're still internalizing what it means. And Bishop DiMarzio pointed this out in his decree for the Holy Year, that Pope John the 23rd opened the Vatican Council asking the Church to bring its resources of mercy and reconciliation into the modern world.
Okay.
And Holy Father Pope Francis opened the Council, opened the Holy Year yesterday on the 50th anniversary of the closing of the Second Vatican Council.
And we talked about that earlier in our program, and he celebrated that there were lights at St. Peter's Basilica, but very importantly, the opening of the doors.
Yes.
Why is that so important? And we have that tradition here within our diocese as well. First, why the importance?
The importance of the door is connected to the importance of the pilgrimage. Pilgrimage is essential to the concept of a holy year. And the pilgrimage is not just a road trip with a sacred destination.
Okay.
It's to reinforce the idea that we are a pilgrim people, as Vatican II said, that here on earth we have no abiding city, and that ultimately we want to rest in the Lord, that Sabbath rest again. And the pilgrimage to a holy place represents the journey to heaven itself.
Okay.
And it undertakes a certain amount of hardship in so doing, but offering it up in union with the cross.
And your parish is one of the parishes that have the privilege of having the door. Why is that important? What does that mean for a parishioner?
Well, in more recent holy years, the Holy Fathers have allowed local dioceses to designate a place of pilgrimage with the door as a destination in order to make the graces of the Holy Year more available to everybody, not just those who could go to Rome. And this year we've had the privilege of being designated one of the 2 pilgrimage destinations in Queens County, more or less for northern and western Queens. I think that the places were selected geographically and also access-wise, and to make sure that all through the diocese there was available places.
And Monsignor, in the time we have left, in the 30 seconds we have left, this year of mercy, closer to home, what should we take from it? How should we take advantage of it?
Individual conversion is primary. Secondly, the corporal and spiritual works of mercy, including works of justice. And then thirdly, that idea of pilgrimage, not only taking the trip, but also walking the walk, you know, in our daily life, and really making sure that our life is a process of changing to be more and more like Christ.
All right, Monsignor, I could talk to you forever. Thank you so much, and thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, Liz.